Hello everyone, I'm Carlos Mesa, and you are watching and listening to the Planeta Fotografico program, where we always talk about photography tricks and tips. I'm going to show you this little box where this reference appears, a product called Mixer Life that you are seeing here, and it is from the Cinetreak brand. I know that there are many people who do not know him, and for that reason I have decided to make this video, because furthermore, and even what is in English does not convince me. And I have found a couple of videos, a couple of tutorials that, in short, are full of glaring errors everywhere from people who, perhaps due to the circumstances, have not. They have dedicated themselves to examining the product well. And, well, they are failures when they really weren't failures. But that what happened was that, let's say that all the conditions and characteristics were not well examined. No. So this is perhaps the most complete video that you will find of this product. And I explained to you what I wanted with Cinetreak Mixer. Live. Well, sometimes it happens to me that there is a client who asks me to record a concert, a show. Something is a social event, and I have to take two cameras, and it has to be broadcast rigorously live. Well, this is the product that broadcasts rigorously live and allows you to work with two cameras. But my budget is not a loose budget. I cannot afford to work, for example, with Yolobox, the Yolo Live. Famous because there are several versions. They have just launched the Ultra version, which has 8 HDMI inputs, so you could work with up to 8 cameras simultaneously. There is a product called Yolobox Pro that is around $1,200. And yes, it has 2 HDMI inputs. But of course, we are talking about $1,200. And the Yolobox Mini version is a version that only works with one camera. Yes, it transmits to the internet, but of course only one camera. And well, it's about that. We have a video switcher in all its condition. Well, Yolobox discarded or BS bought talent, which I was also very interested in due to the fact that right now you are seeing me with a camera or BS bought Tile Air. Well, a very interesting product too. Perhaps the most complete that currently exists on the market, far above Yolobox, and that even works with the NBI protocol. And not to throw cables anywhere. But what was the problem? The usual, huh? We returned to those $1,000, which is good. My pocket can't afford it. And we have a wonderful product, very unknown here in Spain, called Maxwell Director Mini, which is probably, if my memory serves, the first product with these characteristics that came out well ahead of even Yolobox. But, we're talking almost 2,000 and very similar to the Yolobox Pro. That is 2 entries, but come on, we are talking about almost 2,000. Very complete product, very interesting and good. What the Chinese have done has been doing for a long time. It is not a completely new product, but has been on the market for a while. Is that this brand called Cinetreak. It imitates or started imitating the Atem Minis, which don't really have a screen of any kind, and finally decided to release this product. Well, this product does have 2 HDMI inputs that allow you to work with Wi-Fi, which makes it a completely portable product, and also allows you to incorporate 2 Sony batteries so you don't have to carry the cable anywhere. It is completely portable. It is designed to take it anywhere. Well, this one here has a price of around $400 and in AliExpress, which I will then leave you in the description box, where you can get it with discounts applied. You can get it at best for $350, $370. Well, mind you, it's already affordable, and therefore I ordered it. And this is the result of what you're going to see. So, although you may not be interested in this product because you are not going to purchase it, I would recommend that you stay in this video, because if you want to know everything that can be done with a video switcher with a touch screen, then this is the video that you were waiting for. Very good to all. Here you are already seeing the Cinetreak Mixer live device is turned off, And the first thing I am going to do before starting so that you can see what the menus themselves are, is I am going to show you each of the connections that there are around the device itself. Set. Look, let's start, if anything, with the area on the left, which I think is the one that looks best. And here you will see the power button and two buttons that are configurable, which are for the topic of transmissions. Well, sorry for the topic of what the transitions are that I didn't know about. The word is completely configurable. Here I have the little cable, jack 3.5 connected to an audio interface that I'll show you later. Could you record the audio directly, huh? With the camera I'm working with. HDMI cameras. It supports up to 2 HDMI cameras, but I prefer the audio to go on a different channel. All of this can obviously be configured here. I have this 3.5 jack that you can already see there that appears what the symbol is. From the headphones, because they are actually headphones instead of monitoring the signal directly from the audio interface, which will always tell me that it is working correctly. I monitor it from here for the simple question of that way I see that the audio really reaches you correctly, and then I hear the audio signal, or how's that audio signal coming in. If it's loose but very high, if it's itchy, if it's not itchy, I can correct all that. At the top, you have all these connectors that you see here. I'm going to place my finger so that it doesn't get good, so that I can focus correctly, so that it doesn't blur. Here we have the two connections, HDMI, HDMI1, and HDMI2, and are above all, and are for the two signals from the two cameras that have to enter this way. I mean, he admits up to 2 cameras, nothing more. We have a current connection, which is this, but I will explain to you later that I am not going to put it, because if it is a completely portable product, it can work with those 2 Sony NP-970 batteries that are there in the back. Here's a 1/4 thread. Just like on the bottom, there is another 1/4 thread that is attached to this clan or clamp. Whatever we want to call it, use a clan or clamp, because I'll show you right away. There is a fan on the back, and it is a device that tends to get hot if you place it on a table. Probably even if it has a fan, it will end up getting hot. So if we want to avoid this overheating, what we have to do is move it away from the table, and that's why I put this clan on it that you're looking at here. Here I have an HDMI output that was to an external monitor. Here I have one USB-C that says UVCY here. This means that we can transmit directly to what is the internet through this Wi-Fi antenna, which by the way is a 2.4 GHz antenna. It does not work in the 5 GHz band. This must be kept in mind, but nothing happens because a transmission of 2 streaming cameras around about 20 megabits per second is what it takes up in bandwidth, then in bandwidth. Come on, this gives this 2.4 GHz band more than enough. No need for larger bandwidth transmission and USB-C connector. It is important that I make you point out that. I can connect this, for example, to a computer, and if I connect it to a computer, because this is a reality, a USB-C cable that goes to USB-B, if I connect it to a computer via USB, we will see that on the computer it is configured in such a way that all this acts as if it were a webcam, and a configuration appears that says Mixer Live. That means that if you go to Zoom or you go to OBS, you will see that Mixer Live appears there, and all this is behaving as if it were a webcam, in such a way that you could perfectly use the computer to broadcast wherever you want. For example, if you want to make simultaneous transmissions with the OBS, because here the transmission is not a simultaneous transmission, but a transmission to a single place in such a way that then you will see how we configure it through the protocol. RTMP, that what I can do is make it connect directly to YouTube, and while doing a relay only to a specific place cannot relay to two places at the same time. I do want two places at once, so I would have to connect it to one or to an encoder like the Sowitech there is, which can be configured to simultaneously transmit several. What is an encoder? An encoder is a very small portable box that you can configure to make simultaneous transmissions to several places at the same time. But if what you want to connect, as I say, to OBS, XSplit, vMix, or any of these programs, then without any problem you can do it from here. A couple of things I want to show you first. The first one, to see if it can be seen here, there you can see this is a fan. This fan that I am going to start, so that you can see that it is a silent fan here. Now it is a silent fan. You can put this, for example, here behind that. Now I don't get the good cable, but you can put it behind there, and what the devices would be located. Cinetreak meter life up here, and then I would still give you more ventilation if any kind of overheating occurs when it's summer. Although I already say it carries a fan not as big as this little one there in the back. In any case, since this screen is 1500 nuts because it is designed to be able to turn on even in broad daylight, the drawback it has is that if you set it to 1500 nuts, it will also overheat, although not so much what the back is, but a little what the front is. So well, keep that in mind too. If you want, you can also place it supported anywhere facing the touch screen. This is a touch screen. Now you will see it, and that way you would avoid overheating. You yourself can buy these fans on Amazon. They are cheap. I'm going to stop them. I don't think they cost more than $30 or $40 inclusive. There are some supports that what they do is that they carry a fan. Are these supports that exist now for tablets? We talked about Wi-Fi. Now I will talk about a few more things before starting it, and the Wi-Fi has a small drawback for me, which is that when we are using it in a shared network, its stability is sometimes lax. That is, if there are a lot of people connected to that Wi-Fi. Well, maybe the Wi-Fi is slow. Then what would I have? What would I have to do for there to be constant stability? Well, here they had to have thought about having placed, even if it was an Ethernet connection, one RG, another A45 like Yolobox or BS or one of these, and that way I could connect it using an Ethernet cable directly to what is the router or switch. Well, how have I solved it if I want to do or emulate that I am connected directly to that router or that switch? Since this TP-Link access point that we are going to is small, exportable, with a range of about 100 to 150 meters approximately, I connect it directly by connection. Ethernet to what the router or switch is. And here I feed it that this is a USB cable. I have it configured here so that it does not act as a repeater but as an access point. It doesn't have to repeat the signal, it has to become an exclusive access point for me. Well, with an application that is specific to Android and for what the iPhone is, specific to what the brand is. Zeppelin, well, it turns out that, let's see, if I show you, here you have it called tether. Well, when it starts it is, and now it cannot be seen because there is too much light. I don't have it configured so that you are more aware of the light on the device. No, not the light on the mobile phone screen. Well, it turns out that with this application I can configure it, and can I put whatever password I want. So here it would appear once connected, because access point X or the name that I have given it with the password that I have given it, and it would be exclusive to me in such a way that it would be like a kind of Wi-Fi to which only I can connect, and which is in turn connected to the switch or the router. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. It's a unique connection exclusive to me. It's not shared, it's not open Wi-Fi. Thanks to this, I get exclusive Wi-Fi, and if I have it close to me at most between, I say, at most about 100 mm, I guarantee a completely stable connection. And well, this way I get out of the situation that I don't have an Ethernet cable proper. Here on the right, I'm going to see if, well, the first thing I'm going to do is more than the right. Yes, I'm going to see if, well, if we start on the right, because the kneecap is too inclined on the right side. The only thing you are going to see is this slider that I will now explain to you what it is for. And this is the SD card with which you can put any type of SD card here. It's useful if you want to put a terabyte. It supports it perfectly, and the recordings are at full HDY up to 60 frames per second. And this will allow you to record instead of transmit, and at the same time, because if you want to load a logo or you want to load some transition or some element in those places, in this, the menu of El Cinetreak Mixer Live that you see allows you to load something. He will always try to load from this what is the SD card that you have given it, because right now there is none good. I'm going to see if I can show you now the back of this little gadget now, and you will see that here appears here to see there is a fan here. Okay, there is a fan, and although it looks blurry now you can see the fan. Well, that fan, then I will explain how to activate it. And here you have this slider to see this one here. That this one has to be pulled towards us, and once it is pulled, there it is, because I found a video of these in English. Of the only 2 videos there are about this device that told you that it was good, that it was not well finished, and it could not be adjusted well. That the Sony NP-970 battery did not adjust. Look what battery I work with, and I'll show you it is the one from the Patona brand. These batteries are as good as the originals. They are clones, but I even think they give a little more charge. Right now, as I have it on, these 2 batteries are batteries of approximately 4 hours each, and this will imply, as you can see, so that it can fit, I have to give it here now, and it's already fit. This will allow me an autonomy of about 8 hours is not little. 8 hours is not little. No, 8 hours, and well, 8 hours more than enough, because if I go to any type of recording, there are 8 hours of recording. The truth is that it is very good, and as I say, I don't have to use the 12-volt connection that appears up here. Let's proceed to turn it on. Here's this power button. It won't be long. I think there must be some kind of Android OS or something, because booting up is like a tablet. It's pretty fast. Well, in fact, you're already seeing it, and the only thing you're going to see, there is a menu on the left, another menu on the right, a kind of little buttons. Here, below, and up here, something also appears. Well, there are some things to do. As soon as we start, the first thing we will have to do is go to the menu on the left, where you can see this little wheel. These are the settings, and here we have a settings section where at the top there is a schedule and a day. I have given it there. And well, here you can put the day on which you are, year, time, etc. This, more than anything, is because that way any type of recording will indicate you at all times. What day was it recorded? You remember the fan? We don't have on off, and we have automatic. Right now it's on, and there's that fan running. It doesn't make any kind of noise from the back. This is the brightness issue. This is the famous 1500 nits. Look at it. The screen burns out a lot. You won't need it because otherwise the video may look a little strange. I'm going to lower it a little so that the exposure is much better. I think it can be fine there, right? And then at the bottom you have English or Chinese. Then you have the output resolution. The output, as you can see, works in full HD up to 60 frames. 60 PS is selected, 60 frames per second, but it can reach up to 24 minimum. Here we'll have the chroma. I can have the chroma off or off for camera 1, input 1, input 2, but since the chroma, I'm not going to use it on this occasion. Well, nothing. We did without him. How are we going to see the on-screen menus? The on-screen menus. We are seeing them horizontally. There are two horizontally. If I put this one, I would see that a 3-second indication appears here, and then it restarts, and the screen would be completely inverted. That is upside down. Well, maybe I have it placed on top of some tripod, and depending on how, well, I have to see it that way. And if I want to see it vertically, I also have the vertical operation. This is not how it is transmitted, but how you see it, how it is transmitted now, we will see it, I think. Brillo, maybe you should remove it a little more so that you can see it better. There are not so many. Now I see it better. Here we have the firmware that is updated to the latest. Here there is something called IP, that this is so that it jumps to one-to-one QR code, that when scanning it does something. I will show you these QR codes right away. What are they for? And here you have the reset button in case you have done something that you shouldn't, and you have to completely reset everything. One of the first things that should be done, therefore, is to enter the configuration menu. And the second thing we should do is get into the Wi-Fi. And right now, well, you see it's connected. Okay, it is connected to the corresponding Wi-Fi, and they appear here since the rest of the connections. Hey, and if I need to enter one, it will ask me for the corresponding password and little more. That access point would appear here if I had it connected, which is now not connected, and therefore that access point that I have shown you in the well does not appear. Now I think we already have everything, and therefore we can now go in and show how each one of these works. Menus that I have on both the left and the right. Well, we'll start with the most obvious ones, which are these that appear here at the bottom, here at the bottom. I have the rec to directly record what the SDY card is. Here I have this one, which is the RTMP transmission one. That is, then if I ever show you how it works, I wouldn't like to skip and leave it without explaining. No, here's what the recordings are, huh? Here this blue section is because, well, there I can see at all times what recordings there are on the SD card. If I pick it, and it would appear here. Here I would make a capture from time to time with which I can be recording a video or a streaming, whatever we want to call it, and I give it here and it takes corresponding captures. Well, the RTMP theme is here. It's this, eh? Yes, I have given it here right now. You see, it is sometimes the finger. It is a little small and it is difficult. So, well, I will immediately explain to you how to be able to see everything a little bigger if you have that need. Here appears that QR code, which is the one I should scan, and if I scan it, what it's going to do is it's going to jump me to an IP address that I'm now going to show you. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, here is an IP address. It doesn't look very good due to the brightness of the screen. I don't know if I can counteract the brightness from here. Yes, let's see if I can remove the shine and it looks better for you. Now you see. Okay, now you can see it. I see it with a small glow, but it's already going well for you. And then you see an IP address with, and that connects to a port. Well, this is one of the Cinetreak websites that what it will allow is to put the streaming server and the key. As we want to call it that streaming server, this is where you would have to put, for example, YouTube. Or if it's Facebook, or Instagram, nor the key or key of YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. All this can be seen to be able to do, for example, and here it would be saved to be able to access the data of your transmission. From YouTube, when you give it, for example, from a computer to create a video from there, well, you can tell it to stream. Well, at that moment, you will see that I am talking about YouTube. You will see that a screen pops up where you can see at all times which one it is. Server URL. And what is the key or access key to that server? A password so we can understand each other. Well, I'm telling you this. If you don't want to complicate your life, I'm going to show you what I use, which is the notepad. I'm going to show you my password, but see my notepad? You have information, right? First, where is the IP address? This is the one you just saw, and in case the QR code fails at any time. And well, if I give it here, it will tell me what the RTMP server is. From YouTube, and it will also tell me the password of that RTMP server. I say this more than anything because if you do a copy and paste, you could go here and do a copy and paste directly from Google Keep. So I use Google Keep, well, for my access keys. If there are several, you can set notes for various clients if you work for several clients. I say this more than anything to make it easy to copy and paste. Each one has its own tricks. Well, here I can tell you the frames per second of the transmission up to 60 frames per second. Here what the quality is, which is high quality. And this is where I do tell you how I want to broadcast horizontally, vertically, or in square format 11, which is the characteristic of Instagram, therefore. All of that is, as I say here, that IP address that you have seen jumps to the QR code, and there you enter the data from YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. To be able to transmit in that way, the moment you press this little button, it would begin to make the corresponding transmission. The time has come to show you how these menus work on both the left and right. These people you see here. This is me repeated twice. That is, this would be the type of broadcast that would be made to YouTube in this case. Well, over here at the top, first of all, the first thing I will do is turn it on or off. Because, for example, if I want to turn off the HDMI 1, I turn it off and you see that it is deactivated. If I want to put a text pattern, that is an example screen. See? I can give you this example screen so that you can see this, simply for the purpose of checking if it is working. But we are going to place it correctly. And why are these two screens being seen here? By the type of template that I am using, which are these here. If I put this on, you will see that it works one by one. It is worth working one by one. Here you will see 2 by 2. Here we are actually going to see, well, 1 second now. Okay, now it's worth it. Here you see me small, and here big, and here I can change it too. Well, now you can't see it. Now you can see it. Now yes, because it had what was the menu's superimposed on top of it and they couldn't be seen correctly. I don't like to work this way because you always see that background and I can configure that background as I want. I like to work like this, and if at any given time I want to change the screen, now I will explain to you how to change the screen. Well, that's how to change screens. Do you remember that there were two buttons on the left side that were configurable? Well, I'm going to give one of them so you can see which one was pointing the finger incorrectly. Let's see if we can make it. Look, they can't reach my finger. Now I have given it, there you see, jump, okay? And if I could see now, jump again, jump, 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 I can tell it to go jump. And the transmission, sorry, the type of transition is not cut, but let it be another transition a little more beautiful. Look, can I set all this up here? No, this is the logo. Now, if you will, we see it here. Transition test. No, it's okay here. Right now, it is placed ACAD, but I am going to place auto, and even if you see something, you see. This is how I would make the corresponding transition. Okay, I can go. Changing and testing. Look, this one looks like Star Wars. If you want, we can leave this okay. And here I can put the time, huh? It says 40 here, which wouldn't taste good. 0.5 seconds. Oh, and the softness. This is the smoothness of the transition. Okay, it's set to 0.5, but if I want to put 2.5 seconds on it, it's slower. Yeah, it's more like it. We are not going to put 0.5 to what Star Wars is, for example, and that's it, okay? However, it is set or configured, and I still give it here and it jumps without any transition. So what am I supposed to do? Because I have also seen this as if it were an error in those videos in English, if I put my finger and pulse in an elongated way. Sustainable, that is for about 3 seconds or so. This appears. I'm going to place it so that you can see it a little better. Okay? I think you'll see it better this way. Okay? What you are seeing here appears cut auto. Look, now it is set to cut. That is, what you are seeing is the configuration of that button. So now it's set to auto. And if I give it this way, do you already jump to that kind of transition between cameras? I prefer the live cut, so I'm going to press here for 2 or 3 seconds. I put the cut and almost good, and here I could do it so that the logo or a score or one appears. A caption would be, well, like a kind of certain element that for reasons of space, I think I'm going to leave certain things and these little details that I don't think are of interest to people like us, that the only thing we intend is to transmit with 2 cameras. And that's it, not in the simplest way possible. Well, so it works like the cut we've said, right? Okay, but there are 2 buttons. There is one at the bottom that what it does is change color. This is also configurable. That is, if I, for example, press continuously, you see it changes to mono, or certain things that go around here, which are these menus on the right. That is, these menus on the right. I can configure them so that they appear once I press that little button. Second, there are 2 configurable buttons, first or second. Well, what else have we got here? I have shown you something that has appeared here. A moment ago, I didn't have it activated. Now I have it activated. Okay, is this element YouTube, for example, to tell you that I'm broadcasting to YouTube a logo, and there are several, huh? These are what they're called. Escorts. This is, for example, a football game. No, where you can put a score to the left, another score to the right, football games, basketball, and things like this. All this can be dealt with here because there is a QR code that can be scanned, and thanks to that QR code, well, with the mobile phone you can change, as I say, that score. That score, if you are really interested, no, this is the size. I think if I give it a little support here, I can change its position, okay, but if I'm not interested, I just deactivate it and that's it. But there are many others, huh? You're here yourselves. If you want to activate them, you activate them, etc. There is even the possibility of uploading your own logos. Let's see, we have these scores. I don't have them activated, but if I activate it, you see this appears that I can change it to the position I want. Here I can put goal 1 to the visiting team. Anyway, if I want to. All this can be configured from what the mobile phone is. Once activated, is it worth the cell phone thing? This is what we have here. If it jumps, if I scan this QR code, these elements that can be score or anything else, which we have already talked about a moment ago, since they could be configured from the mobile phone itself, that's where I could score 1, 1 to 0, 1 to 1, etc., etc. Let's see this. We have talked about what the transitions themselves are. And this is where I tell you to save my settings. I can save a certain configuration, user 1, user 2, user 3, and user 4. Because if you have a card, and I have made some changes here that are exclusive to me, well, I save them on the card, and then I can load them. If it is a client, well, I can put user 2, the characteristics specific to that client. I can save the card and then I can load it. Use user 2 or user 3 or user 4. That all those configurations that I have already set will be their own and exclusive to that client. Okay, we don't have anything else on the left side. We have, in any case, in what is on the right side. All this on the right side is not so much thought out for what a broadcast is, but I believe that all this is more thought out, more oriented towards the world of filmmakers, well, or even for those who, for the issue of content creators can be. It may be, I don't know, because you can vary what the brightness is, the contrast, the saturation is. Here you can place it so you can see it better. Focus picking is those little stripes that if I activate them, they will make them appear where the camera is focusing. No, here I have the theme of the exhibition, because if I want him to make me show me in red or blue the theme of, what is it? Exposing the false color. If I activate it, then I will get a false color that also serves me to determine what is perhaps within an exposure or within what a certain approach is. Well, this is all very own. The theme of the wave, the waves, everything is very typical of there is even fight somewhere, and because it is true that you can load fight. What are these presets? Here he was, huh? Here we have the topic of LUTs, which are these aspects, not what is given to a specific image. I cannot attach any cinematic aspect to it if that is the case and appropriate, and here, well, PTZ controls, because it is possible that I am not going to get into it today. Well, configure it by the cameras if they are. PTZ cameras with SRT protocol. Well, from here you could configure it so that the camera could be controlled. Even from here, it doesn't have much more. It's these menus. You see what a simpler thing. But before entering the world of broadcasting and seeing how they broadcast here, I have put a good one These are the two connectors for the two cameras that are missing but are up here, which are both the left and the right, which I have to configure here or not, but which jump with the little button that I have shown you. But here I have an HDMI out cable, because let's see if I can show it to you. This is an external monitor from Arsopa that is doing very well, which are also always on sale on Amazon. If you are interested, I will also put it to you, and so you will see that it is possible to connect an external monitor. This one is 15.6 in. It goes very well. It is completely portable. Of course, you have to go with a mini HDMI cable from this one here to what HDMI is. It is not micro HDMI. If it is not the other one, the mini HDMI. And here you can connect a power band, for example. And here on the back there is like a stick to hold it on any table. Well, it's an external monitor. So this is going to allow you to monitor the signal and see how that recording turns out on an external screen of about 15.15 6 in. Another thing that I have here, that I am going to show you something that I have here that I have not shown you. Before going into what the video transmission settings are. Oh, and the issue that I haven't explained either, the issue of how external audio works, which I haven't told you either, but which I will show you right away. Well, these are 5M HDMI cables. So right now there is one shorter than these that you see here. But come on, I put one of these 5M HDMI cables and any camera can reach me. I have two, with which these two cameras of Orbi-S Bobtail Air, which are the ones I use for this recording, because I could connect them using this HDMI cable, and I can put them as far away as I want to be able to transport this little gadget. I have this little box that I have. They are these little boxes that you can then cut the sponge off. And well, I cut the sponge off so that it fits me well, so I can close it, because it doesn't go with the device. It doesn't go with any kind of cover or anything. So in order not to put it in a backpack, well, I put it in a rigid box, and I know that this can withstand any type of impact, therefore to transport well, very well, including what the external monitor is. Now you don't see it, but it has a cover off. Off 16. In that I bought it separately, so that way, because I also wear it protected so that the screen doesn't break. Now I'm going to show you the audio interface. How does it work? Let's go to the topic of the audio interface. The audio interface I have over here, it's this Comica A from Caster C1, which is completely transportable and has two inputs over here. And right now, the only thing I have connected to one of these inputs that you see over here says IN1 input 1. The only thing I have connected to him is a flap microphone, but come on, as you can see, because one can think. It's just that I like working with XLRs. Well, if we connect this via USB-C to what is the audio interface, then we could put two XLR microphones here, including phantom power, because this gadget supports phantom power. That means that it still adds more power, especially for so-called dynamic microphones. This type, the lavalier or lapel, doesn't need any of this, no, but it has a lot of other things, because there is a possibility that the sound will be encapsulated with some special effect. Anyway, you can put it here to eliminate noise. Can you make one of the entrances work, for example? Well, for it to connect via Bluetooth, because it has a Bluetooth input here. This one here that is now off, it is off. Let's see there. And this would mean that if I activate Bluetooth, then I can connect what is my mobile phone. For example, someone who calls me and wants their voice to enter directly through the sound card of the audio interface, well, I can do it perfectly. Anyway, it is a portable audio interface that I really like. Right now, the one I'm using is the Caster C-DUS one, which is more designed for the tabletop, and this one is very, very portable. It's the one I started with, but I really like this little detail, not that we can put all kinds of entries in it. I have to power it up. Mind you, here's the power bank once again, and here on the back are all sorts of audio outputs. These two are actually meant for what connection is towards. A mobile phone, a smartphone, or whatever you want to call it. These are here because they are different. They are not the same. Look, here I show you a cable for you to see. See? This is called TRC. This is the famous TRS that this one does. That is, let's say, the standard, not the typical 3.5 jack that can be attached to any camera device, etc. This is only for what are mobile phones, and therefore these two will be the ones that would go this way. But since this is a 3.5 TRS jack, the output either has to be this or this. There is no other way. Okay? Let's say that this is the one that acts like a line. And I also know that it is this because up here in what the volume is. I see you're monitoring him. Monitoring what the audio signal is does not arrive perfectly, and I know that the audio signal reaches you because I have my headphones connected. I have them connected here, and then I understand that not only here it tells me that the signal is coming in, but also I'm listening because, as I told you, thanks to this audio interface, I can put some microphones of a slightly more special quality, although the camera itself. I can tell you that the sound enters through the camera. I can configure all this here. Look, we give it here once, and if you don't want the volume that gets in your way, we turn it off, you see, and it still doesn't mean this. It is simply to regulate it, because you can put it from here, more volume or less volume, more decibels or less decibels. Not if you just regulate it from what the audio interface is. But if you activate it here, including not only with the audio interface, but from here you can also raise or lower the volume. Well, I have the two camera inputs deactivated. These are the cameras. Okay, I have them deactivated. If I put them on, the audio would not enter directly up here, and I don't want to. We have said that directly from the card, and from the card, you see here, I have it. I can put a direct microphone in it, or what is line is the audio interface, or I can deactivate it and hear the helmets as I hear them. I can hear them directly from one of the two inputs of HDMI, or from the online microphone, as we want to call it, or from the USB port, that is including. If you are in a hurry, the USB port would also allow me to connect what is the audio interface directly to that rear USB port that I have here in the back. What I have left without explaining to you, the AFV is an automatic. It implies that if there is someone who is talking in camera 1, the sound automatically passes to camera 1. And if there's someone who's talking from camera 2, automatically the sound goes to camera 2. Okay? Sometimes you know that, let's say that those of us who speak in Spanish are not very good at giving the floor to others. And we always overlap with each other, and we are both speaking at the same time. So it is better that we do not do it that way, but rather that we have it active on it, both one HDMI input and the other, and thus the sound is always collected from both parts and not in an automatic way that it can produce. That some of them cannot be heard or cannot be heard well. I have everything set up for the audio interface, and I'm going to put it back on so you can see that it's working. So this is how it is set up to work with this audio interface. And finally, before getting to the conclusion section, I give it here so that you can see that it can happen that if we lower our finger, well, this menu at the bottom disappears. No, but if we want it, we give it with our finger up and it appears again. The rec is now not going to work because there is no SD card attached, but this one here is going to work perfectly for me. I'm open. Now you don't see it, but I have opened here on the computer to find out if studio.youtube.com works. And I have clicked the Create Live Broadcast button, and then a small window appears that gives me the address of the RTMP server, which is the one we have said that this is configured here. So this is what you have to scan, and that is where you have to enter that address that passes to you, YouTube. And the password that also passes to YouTube once you save it, which was what I explained to you a while ago, which if anything I'll show you again so that we don't forget. Once I gave it here to save, I don't have to do it anymore. It means that it is configured to transmit to that RTMP server. That is, this is the protocol that YouTube uses. And there's a little window there that lets me see if the transmission is working. Furthermore, I have to have previously configured it because it is true that we are not going to be able to do this from here. But if you enter nstudio.youtube.com, there is where you have not only these two data that I'm telling you, but if the transmission is public, private. If you want to make it public, you have to make it public. Let us not forget. Well, anyway, once it is saved, all I have to do is I give it here once, I give it again. There are always two. There is like a security mechanism, and up here the kilobits per second will appear. You see, I'm transmitting at 1000 kilobits per second bandwidth, more than enough for a 2.4 GHz connection. And it would imply that right now I'm broadcasting. I've made it private, so you're not going to be able to see anything at all, nor am I going to leave it for people to see. But it's an internal test, but I'm broadcasting it and it's working perfectly. And my lips, by the way, there's no lags. Everything is syncing perfectly what the audio interface audio is with what the HDMI streaming is if I want to stop. I give it here once and it tells me to give it another second time, and here I see that it stops showing me the kilobits per second, which means that the transmission has ended. One important thing, because there are those who think that this is going to have to do in each transmission in the key that YouTube provides you. Delay the key in question. This RTMP server with the key or key is fixed. It is not variable. In reality, it is fixed, so you don't have to do anything more than do it once, and that's it. And from here, you give it again and transmit. But what happens if I make a second transmission once I have finished? That is, I give it, for example, again here, and it counts me again. What is streaming on YouTube means it destroys the previous recording and puts this new one on me, does not accumulate. That is, what we would see is that in the YouTube live section of my channel, I would have the previous recording and I would have this completely new one. I mean, he's using the same key. But they're two completely different videos. It is not a video that crushes the previous one. Well, having said that, I think we have given it a good review, and now I will tell you what my conclusion is about this little device, which, by the way, I am going to touch it to see. No, it's not. It's a little hot because I haven't put this fan in front of it, but very, 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 very little. And well, as I was telling you now, I will give you my final conclusion regarding my final conclusion is that I am going to use it, and I'm going to use it a lot for my work because I am hired at fairs such as International Mail to do these direct. We have a special room. And well, the truth is that this type of setup is very good for me, that I have set up all very portable. Do you see that the device is 5.5 in? It's very portable. I have the audio interface around, which is also very portable. You have already seen it. And the only thing I have to take with me, yes, lighting schemes. But all these, I know what they are. All kinds of lights that I put in a completely transportable box, that now there are some very cool ones in Temu with wheels. What are these? These beach boxes that call come on, that work very well, and you put everything there and take it wherever you want, right? Obviously, if I could afford to buy a Yolobox or One or BS Bot Talent, I would without a doubt buy it. Maybe I wouldn't buy that superior version, the Mateswell Director Mini but One or BS Bot Talent. I'm sure it would fall if I had the money not to acquire it, but hey. Like me, the only thing I want is to place two cameras, that I don't need much more. My transmission system is very simple. There are only two cameras with a lighting scheme on the back, because here I put the two cameras. I know that with these two batteries it gives me 8 hours, and it is more hours. As it is in the case of the upcoming fair, I will connect it here because of what the 12-volt cable is. I will put my, like this antenna, what I told you, does not have the capacity for Ethernet cable. I will put my little access point here to make my own exclusive Wi-Fi that no one else can use. And if I want to see how everything turns out, I will put the external monitor here and a little more. And well, and here I have already talked to you about how to configure it, and you use these little buttons to change from one camera to another. So it particularly convinces me, and what convinces me the most is that price, which, as I told you, is about $400, which does not reach almost $50, more than half of what one US Bot Talent or a Yolobox Pro costs. And I will also give you the address of AliExpress, which is the only place where it can be purchased, because it is not on Amazon, and you will have it in the description of this video. And there you will see that when you make the payment, even though it will give you maybe 400, and something will give you a discount of about, I would say almost about $70, he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you that this is the discount he gives you for VAT, because they don't charge you VAT. If that will work for you, it will allow you to perhaps get this little device for about $350 if you are lucky enough to have it when it arrives at your home. It has not passed the customs filter, because you do not pay VAT. This is luck. You already know it. If it has passed the customs filter, since it does not go with an invoice, they make an estimate, and normally it is a downward estimate. So if I know that X money of VAT, it is most likely that I will give you half of VAT. Spanish customs always bring it down. At least I'm talking about Spain here. So it still costs you about 410. No, it won't come down from there. So as I tell you, it is a fairly affordable little device. Well, I don't have anything else to tell you today. That I hope you liked this video, because it is something completely different. And once again, I have explained to you how to have a device like this. I'm no longer talking about an A10 Mini that doesn't have any type of screen. That always has to be connected to something, a computer or whatever, and sometimes one doesn't want to take it. The computer out there or anything similar, but I'm talking about that this is all you have to carry with you. That is, this makes you a video switch and makes you a control screen. You do not have to carry a computer of any kind, although then it has that possibility that it has the characteristic that through USB-C, if you want to connect it to a computer, you can also use a computer. But come on, the idea is not to have to take the computer anywhere, right? Well, that's nothing. That you see that the device is a very easy to use device, and that I believe, yes, that I am going to get a benefit and a performance from it. So I hope you liked this video, and also the video is a video that, yes, there are 2 more videos in English out there, but with all those flaws. From people who may not have, they haven't studied it thoroughly, they have simply unboxed it, they have looked at it a little bit like that, but they have not tried it thoroughly. So even for English-speaking people, this video today, although I know it is a little long, if practically 1 hour later, one last thing will be useful, nothing more. If you think this video is of interest to you, give it a like. Give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Because it's a way of rewarding myself for the time and dedication I put into this, which I do with all the love in the world. For all those people who want to delve deeper into this audiovisual world and little more than in the video description, you will also find a couple of links. One takes you to the book that Amazon published to me, the one about photo and video with iPhone. In case you are used to this type of smartphones, and if you want a good photography and video book, well, there you have it. That costs only $10 and can be purchased through Amazon International. It is everywhere, and then you also have a link to enter our WhatsApp group, which is completely free. And there you can ask questions if you have any questions about something and participate in a community of more than 500 photographers, where even if you are from here in Catalonia, free meetings are held from time to time. And can you participate in these meetings? For my part, nothing more. I hope you liked today's video, and we'll see you again next week, and see you soon.
Finalizamos este podcast de la Asociación Fotográfica Planeta Insólito.